Hello. This video we're going to start off talking a little bit about Pat Venditte. He is not the first ambidextrous pitcher to make an attempt at the majors and hopefully gets a call up this year, but a little bit of background. The last person to pitch in a game with both hands was Greg A. Harris. He did it with the Expos. Probably the most known ambidextrous pitcher was one from about 120 some years ago, 130 years ago I guess now, and his name was Tony Mullane. I'm sure that Venditte will be a much better person overall than Mullane. Mullane was quite the racist. He had a catcher when he pitched for Toledo in 1884 whose name was Moses Fleetwood Walker. He was one of the ball players who was black, who was in baseball before baseball drew the color line. The big issue he had was he believed that Walker was one of the best catchers, if not the best catcher he had ever seen. But because he was black, he wouldn't listen to any of the signals because he disliked taking orders from a Negro. Anyway, so what ended up going on was Mullane would ignore him, and one day crossed him up where a curveball was called and he threw a fastball. The two had a meeting. They both came to kind of a realization that they weren't going to see eye to eye. So the rest of the season, with the two of them playing, Mullane would just throw whatever he wanted. Fleetwood would just catch whatever was thrown and was not going to get crossed up. And he was that good of a pitcher, he was that good of a catcher apparently that it didn't even matter what the pitch was. He caught it and was fine. Going from a pitcher who could throw identically with his left hand to his right hand to a ninth inning for the Mets in two separate days, within a couple days of each other, that mirrored each other in order for them to win a game. The 1899 season wasn't a good one for the Cleveland Spiders. The reason for that was the owner of the Spiders also bought the St. Louis Cardinals in the National League and decided to move all of his stars, including Cy Young, over to that team, which did fairly well that year. The Cleveland Spiders finished with an abysmal record of 20 wins and 134 losses, and their biggest winning streak of the season was 2 wins, which they only did once. A 19-year-old cigar stand clerk named Eddie Kolb traded a box of cigars to the manager Jack Quinn for the chance to pitch in the final game of the season. He didn't fare too well, giving up 18 hits and losing the game 19-3 with a complete game loss. On the bright side, he got 1 hit in 4 at-bats and only had to suffer through one of the Spiders' 134 losses. For our last item today, we're going to talk about how a cheap owner ended up leading the Pittsburgh team to change their name from the Alleghenies to the Pirates. John T. Brush, who was the owner of Indianapolis in the National League, came up with a schedule for paying players that was adopted by the National League, where they ranked the players from A to E, whereas the A players ended up getting $2,500 a year, and the E players only got $1,500 and had to do other chores like sweeping up, putting away equipment, and working the turnstiles. The players were outraged by this, and the player strike was averted thanks to president of the Professional Baseball Players Group, John Montgomery Ward. The unfortunate thing about this is it set the seeds, though, for dissension in baseball. And the start of the 1890 season saw the formation of another professional league, which was known as the Players' League or the Brotherhood League. They paid the teams better. They didn't have the reserve clause and all this. Unfortunately, the league didn't last more than 1 season. Because of the reserve clause, most of the players were just going back to the clubs that they had belonged to the year before, except for one person, Louis Bierbauer, who was picked up by the Pirates. National League was upset about this, of course, but Pittsburgh, well, they were the Pirates, they were the Alleghenies at that point. Pittsburgh's defense was that the reserve clause didn't count because this was somebody from a different league that they didn't have an understanding with when it came to the reserve clause. So other teams started shooting off about Pittsburgh, calling them the Pirates, and Pittsburgh decided they liked that name. So they decided to change their name to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. As always, we've got our little up there, the previous and our next one video, and so if you want to go back or forth, you can do that, and subscribing is always fun. Thank you for watching your video. Have a good day.